Okay, welcome. We're doing another deep dive today, built around the material you sent over.
That's right.
And this one, it's an excerpt called Talking About Jesus, but it really lasers in on thankfulness.
hmm
Specifically, that verse from First Thessalonians.
Yeah, 5.18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. It's powerful.
It really is. And our goal here, our kind of mission for this discussion, is to unpack what that actually means. In all circumstances.
Especially when life feels, well, uncertain, when you're looking for direction and maybe not finding it easily.
hmm And the source, right away, it suggests gratitude isn't just like a happy feeling when things go well.
No, not at all. It presents it as something much more fundamental, linked directly to trust.
And even linked to being in God's will, which is maybe the surprising twist here.
Absolutely. That's a key point in the source. It defines this thankfulness not as ignoring the bad stuff, but as an active choice.
An active choice to acknowledge God's sovereignty.
Exactly. Over everything.
Right.
The good, the confusing, the stuff that makes no sense. Giving thanks becomes this declaration, like saying, okay, I don't get this, but I trust you're good, you're in control.
Even when I feel totally lost.
Precisely. So it's not dependent on things looking good from our perspective.
Right. The source roots it somewhere else entirely.
It roots it in confidence, not comfort. It mentions Romans 8.28, the idea that God works things for good for those who love him.
So the gratitude comes from trusting him, not necessarily trusting the situation you're in.
That's it. It's confidence in the one holding your life, even when the path ahead is foggy.
Which is such a crucial distinction, isn't it? Because when you're seeking God's will, it often feels like you're hunting for a hidden clue.
We're waiting for, like, a giant neon sign.
Yeah, and that waiting, that silence can be really frustrating. You pray for direction, and nothing seems to happen.
And this is where the source offers that reframing. We think seeking his will is about finding the answer.
The specific next step.
Right. But that verse, 1 Thessalonians 5.18, give thanks in all circumstances. It's not advice for sunny days. It's an instruction for all circumstances.
Okay, so here's the core idea from the source then. Choosing to thank God, even in the middle of confusion or struggle, that act itself is fulfilling his will.
That's the profound takeaway, yes. The source suggests that thanking him right there in the uncertainty is stepping into his will for that moment.
Wow, so it doesn't magically fix the problem or answer the question immediately?
No, probably not. But it changes your posture before God. It shifts you.
From demanding answers to
What?
saying, okay, Lord, I don't understand this, but I trust you, and I thank you right now, right here. It's thanking him for his presence, his character, even when the circumstances are tough.
It really makes you stop and think. We can get so fixated on the what's next that we miss the instruction for what's now. We want the map for the future, but maybe the call is just trust and gratitude on the ground we're on.
And think about who wrote this. Paul wasn't exactly chilling on a beach. No, far from it.
He was facing serious hardship, persecution. Yet he's the one saying, give thanks always. His point seems to be that thankfulness isn't based on easy circumstances.
It's based on faith in a God who is faithful, even in the suffering.
Right. A God who is sovereign over it all.
So if you're listening and you're in that uncertain place, the source seems to say maybe the first step in God's will isn't finding the perfect answer.
But choosing gratitude right where you are.
Yeah. Thank him for this moment, even if it's hard. Thank him for the waiting, maybe, for what you might be learning.
Or thank him for the strength he gives when you feel weak, for the peace you can find even when things are chaotic, that little bit of hope.
Which really leads into this idea of surrender, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. To genuinely give thanks in all things. Well, that's a pretty powerful way to open your hands.
Say, okay, not what I want maybe, but your will.
Exactly. Not my will, but yours. It's actively saying you trust his plan, his character, even when you can't see the full picture. Trusting he's weaving something bigger.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the key takeaway from this deep dive, based on your source.
Go for it.
Thankfulness in all circumstances, as the source presents it. It's not just being polite or optimistic, it's a deep declaration of trust.
Trust in God's control and his goodness, especially when things are murky.
And it really reframes seeking God's will. It's less about a treasure hunt for answers.
And more about understanding that the act of giving thanks in this situation is itself following a divine instruction. It places you right in his will.
Rooted in that Romans 8.28 confidence, changing your whole posture before him.
And possible even when things are genuinely difficult, like Paul showed, thanking God for the now, the wait, the strength.
And ultimately, it's this powerful act of surrender, opening your hands.
Saying, not my will, but yours.
So here's something to think about, drawing straight from the source's line of argument. What if choosing thankfulness, especially in those uncertain seasons, isn't just a reaction or, an act of faith on the side? What if it's the core act of surrender, the thing that shows you truly trust God, is writing a story much bigger than you can see right now?
How does looking at gratitude as active surrender change how you face uncertainty?
How does it change the way you approach making decisions when you don't have all the answers? Something to really consider.